All right, we are on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Everyday Riches Show. I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am a transformational life trainer. And we are going to talk about today of why we do what we do. And so, Jason, who are you and what do you do?
I am Jason Tracy. You know what? It's always funny. I am never a big titles person, but like whenever I think of my title, I think of I'm an empowerer. I love
Yes.
to empower people, and that's really what this show is about, is empowering people. And I know just from the little dialogue we had beforehand that we have some good stuff we're going to talk about today in how to empower people.
Right. And it starts with I believe that it starts with knowing who you are.
Yeah. Oh, it's and the funny thing is so many people don't start there.
They don't start there. Exactly. And I personally, I don't think it matters. Well, it matters of whether you're a spiritual person or a non-spiritual person. Like with me, mine always starts with that I am a child of the Most High God, because that is my spiritual. But somebody might not have that. But what's your equivalent of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Where do you see yourself fitting into whether you call it the grand consciousness or the collective or whatever, where do you see your essence?
So funny. I just we talk about paying for coaches and investing in ourselves all the time. I just invested in myself in this with this coach in this program, and it's really to help unlock my writing. And so he has this whole program and how to get you to just write more freely, because I am proud of my writing. I think I'm a pretty good writer. We've wrote a
Yeah.
book together. I'm proud
Yep.
of that chapter in the book.
Yep.
However, it takes me sometimes a while to unlock that. Even in my content, my posts that I make, sometimes I'm just not in that creative mode. And so this guy, we've connected really, really well. In fact, we should have him on our podcast. We should have him on the
Absolutely.
show.
Let's do it.
His name's Robert Joseph Palmer, and he was on my Coffee and Grit show, and he's the #3 most listened to episode of all time. He's at 196 streams on his episode. So really cool, really cool guy. But anyways, that whole long introduction to talk about why I am telling the story in the first place. So through this is doing he has me doing these writing exercises. So my homework is 4 out of the next 5 days I have to write for 15 minutes. So just turn a timer on and just write, whatever it is, just write in free flow. And so yesterday my writing was on my free flow was living my best life. That's what I started off with, is living my best life. When I'm living my best life, I'm doing these things. And it's all about that discovery of me. And this has been, over the years, I know there are certain habits that I do when I'm my best person, when I'm living my best life, when I have the most energy, when I have the most to give to other people, when I'm feeling the most confident, when I'm the most successful. If I do these collection of things, I feel like I'm unstoppable. And it comes down to meditating. It comes down to eating healthy. It comes down to working out. Anyways, there's a whole list of things that I know. Reading, writing daily, journaling. You talked about, before we got on, writing in your journal, and that is something that I wish that I could say that I do that regularly. But I know when I do it that I'm my most impactful self. And so that's kind of the next step of this writing is, if I know these things, then why don't I do them regularly? Why do I let myself slip? And I think that's kind of the breadth of this episode. And you're talking about sometimes we wake up and have bad days, right?
Yeah. So in all transparency, right in this moment, we can wake up and just be, well, I think statistically, out of 365 days, the average person wakes up 300 days feeling grumpy.
Yeah.
Well, Jason and I believe our days that we wake up feeling grumpy are much less than that, because we work at it.
Yep.
However, once in a while you just wake up grumpy. And I was. And then of course it's like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? Where's this coming from? Well, okay, I had a little bit of a project that I've been working on. Well, it kind of fell apart. And so then it was like, so I started to have a little pity party. Oh, so my project fell apart. And then it's the, what's wrong with me that my project fell apart? Well, there's nothing wrong with you that you it just fell apart. But you know, once you start that little pity party, you know, one of the things I'm working on right now is positive intelligence. Well, they have established that there are your main judge, that's that main voice in your head that's judging everything that you do. But that judge has nine little minions that run around in your brain too, telling you why the judge is judging you. So it doesn't matter which one of the ones that was beating me up this morning. All I knew was that they were beating me up.
Yeah.
And it was like, and right in that moment, it's that moment of awareness. And if you want to find out what your 9 saboteurs are, hey, reach out to me. It is a fun thing to do. But anyways, but when you get in touch with that, just have that awareness that you are being beaten up. And it could be something from your past. But then when you start that little pity party and acknowledge that you're being beaten up, well, guess what? All the other things that you've been beaten up for in the past try to come in. And so now your pity party has gotten a little bigger. And then your pity party has gotten a little bigger. And then your pity party has gotten a little bigger.
Your pity party invited all of its closest friends. And now it's a rager.
Now you've got a bonfire going all in it here.
Broken glass, the police are being called.
So what do? Well, number one, Bob Newhart says it the best in that comedy sketch of his, just stop it.
Just stop it. Does it hurt now? Yeah. Does it hurt when you do this?
Just stop it. And so that was kind of one of my things of my morning. And so it was
we'll
like,
know the age of our guests or of our listeners if they get that joke.
Yes. So if you don't, go to Bob Newhart, just do it. I believe it's on YouTube. And it's a funny little thing but think about the timing of it. How many years ago was that show on TV? And it was relevant then, and it is relevant now.
True.
Because what are you doing with the voices in your head? You can either let them overcome you and I had the choice of making the rest of my day just this.
You know what though? You said something and you're talking about journaling. And I think this is the whole basis of what this show is. Yeah, there's bad days, and you could sit and you could have a pity party and you could make all day today bad. But you're talking about your journaling, and you said you're thankful today's Tuesday because you know you have this show. And so this show is kind of therapy for you. We created it to be therapy for other people. But now it's something that's like therapy for you. You get to come, and it really ties into one, why we do this show, and two, what you say all the time, that if you're thinking it, if you're going through it, you got to talk about it because there's other people going through it right now too. And hey, we've anointed ourselves the gurus, and we have this show, and we come on and we talk about things, and we have all these guests, but we have lives too. We're just like you. We're not perfect, and we don't ever claim to be. We're human. We make human errors. We have human bad days. We say human stupid things to people that make them mad.
Yep. It's like, who and sometimes, and it'll be like after I have done something really, who was that screaming Mimi that just ran by? And it was me, because we have both sides of us.
Yeah.
So that's what's so important, when we can be aware that, yes. So one of my biggest things is quit beating yourself up for the things that you're not.
Yeah. Celebrate
the things that you are. So this morning I was kind of beating myself up because this project kind of fell apart. And then I was beating myself up. And then realizing, oh, for heaven's sakes, Barbara, it doesn't mean your life fell apart. One little piece, one little project fell apart. Your whole life did not fall apart and die today, right at this moment, whether emotionally or physically or anything. I've got podcasts to, I've got people to talk to today. And you know what? And tomorrow, well, I might find what that little piece was of the project that I still need to learn or find out from somebody else. And somebody might say to me, oh, Barb, gee, have you thought of doing this? Oh, that's the missing piece.
Yeah. Yep.
And you never know. So that's why, and I'm kudos to Jason. The other day I was listening to I don't know if you got my message. Must have been Saturday.
Yeah.
Listening to the podcast with Stacy, and I don't remember her last
name. Stacy Sloan. Yeah.
Stacy Sloan. We're going to have her on this podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, and talking about that law of attraction, that the quantum of being out, some of the things that we talk about, other people go, oh, brother, that is so woo.
I love that episode because there's one point where Stacy's like, is there anybody still listening to this?
and I was enjoying every moment of it because it was absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
Because we have no control over what other people are going to do. All we have is what we can do. And so then once we get in touch with what we can do, and so that's what a little bit we're going to talk about is, who is your ideal audience? Who are you talking to?
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you're stuck in your business, you might not be talking to the right audience. And no matter what you say, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to hear it because words have energy and words have power.
Yes.
So
like, so this is so fun. So Stacy would be an awesome guest. You know who you would absolutely love and who we should have as a guest. And I've never had, and I need to have him on my podcast now that I'm saying this out loud. Is Stacy's dad, Doc. Doc Sloan is
Let's have
the
both
coolest
of them.
guy. One of the coolest guys.
Let's have them both on.
This guy, how he got his name Doc is insane. Like, it's a really, really cool story. This guy is like, I've never had a bad day in my life. And he just has this positive mentality, like, and has created a life of abundance around this whole mentality. Just a really, really cool guy. Shout out to Doc. Shout out to Stacy too, because they're both really awesome people.
It was a great, so if Coffee and Grit, check it out on Spotify. And I was listening to it and it was like, oh, wow, this absolutely makes sense, because so often we try to live our life by somebody else's rules. That was me for so many years. By what other people's opinions of what I should be, of how I should do business. What my like, ooh, gee, should you even be in business? Nice girls don't build businesses. Nice girls are wives and mothers.
Yes. It's so important to, and again, this goes back to what you said at the very beginning of this conversation, is the self-discovery. What makes you happy? Who are you, right? And so even setting goals, and I spoke to a group of real estate agents last week, and it was a goal setting retreat. And so it was the beginning of the year, end of year, beginning of the year goal setting retreat. And so I spoke to this group of real estate agents, and one of the things I told them is, today you're going to do a lot of goal setting. And oftentimes the bosses come down, they say, these are our goals, and this is your goal, and they assign you goals. And we take that and we do whatever we want with that. Most of the time we don't hit those goals, or we just feel like they're hollow or they're shallow.
Right.
Today, root down and understand, what does that goal get you? Like, why do you want it? What goals do you have? What do you want to accomplish in life? And it's not about the money. What does that money get you? Right? What experiences, what are you doing with your family if you hit this goal? What are you going to do with your family? What are you going to do? What do you love doing? Are you going to go out on vacation? Do you, think about the things that you want in life,
right? And
then shape it around. But if you don't know what you want, you don't know why you're doing it. Your boss just said, here's a goal. You might get it, but most of the time you're not, and you're going to come up short. And the thing is like, it's not even that big of a disappointment, because it was just a goal that somebody else gave you.
Right. Or you do hit it and but you have been so stressed about hitting it that because you're overachiever, you might be an overachiever,
Yeah.
but you're not enjoying the accolades of getting it. And you're not enjoying the rewards of getting it because it wasn't your goal.
Yes. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't your goal. And so find the things, like with me, one of my things that I work with is just having people, if I could have you look younger, feel younger, enhance your flexibility, give you almost unlimited energy to enjoy yourself with, would you do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people don't.
The people don't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because they don't see it for themselves.
It reminds me of one of my favorites. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nope, that was it. They don't see it for themselves.
One of my favorite little like wise tale stories is about the guy out in a boat fishing.
Yeah.
And so he's out in a boat and he's catching all these fish. And at the end of the day, he takes these fish back home to his family and they have a big cookout every night and they have this, great time. And every day he wakes up, he loves going out and fishing and he gets to spend all his time with his family and he just absolutely loves his life. Well, as he's sitting out there happily fishing, minding his business, a New York businessman is standing on the shore and watching this guy. And so when the guy comes in on the shore, the businessman says, "Man, you're out there, you're just catching a lot of fish." He was like, "That's crazy. Have you thought about starting a business?" And the guy's like, no, I don't really have a desire to start a business. And the business guy's like, "But listen," he was like, "if you start a business," he was like, you'll go out there, you'll catch that fish, you'll make a little bit of money, you'll be able to build your business even further, you'll be able to do all these things." And he was like, "And you'll have to work a lot." He was like, "You'll have to work, 40 or 50 hours a week, and you'll have to do all these things. And at the end of the day, after about 20 or 30 years, you'll be able to quit your job or you'll be able to sell your business. And then you can spend your whole life just fishing and spending time with your family and barbecuing and doing whatever you want."
Yeah.
Well, that's what the guy was already doing. The guy was already living the life of his dreams. The business guy sees the life of his dreams and tries to project his dreams on another person. That guy's already living the life. And when that businessman explains all the work that he's got to go through just to do what he's already doing now, he sees no value in that. He sees so how could he ever go and achieve that? That's not his dream. Now, if he felt pressure and felt all of a sudden that those minions came out in his head and told him, yes, "Oh, maybe you're a failure. Maybe people look down on you. Maybe you should go out and do this because you're not successful if you don't go out and make money and go out and build a business." And then you go out and you do it because other people pressured you, you're going to fail. And then you think you're a failure.
Well, exactly. And so that's where kind of like I'm at right now with some of what I'm starting to get into, the people that are corporate executives, and it doesn't even matter if they're a corporate executive, but they're in a job and they feel like a fraud. They're stressed out, they're exhausted because they're not doing what they are called to do. So rather than feeling powerful and energized and fulfilled, they're going to a 9-to-5 job. They're dreading it. Ooh, can't believe it's Monday. Oh, it's only Wednesday. And they're coming to Friday. Then they're spending their whole weekend dreading going back to work.
Yeah.
Well, so now because of that, then they're starting to feel unworthy. They're overloaded, and they need help and they don't know where to get it. And that's where you and I come in. Yeah. Let's teach you how to be powerful and energetic. And let's teach you how to have renewed passion in your life and in your business, in your career, in your family.
Yeah.
Let's start with who are you within what you do now? So many people I hear, and I've heard this so many times, is that, you've climbed the corporate ladder and realized that your ladder is against the wrong building.
Yes. Yeah. That's a great analogy.
Now you want to jump off the high rise. And so many people are falling into drugs or alcohol, self-medicating, suicide, because they don't know who they are. And I think I told you a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to a young man, and he was in his like early 30s, but he's in e-commerce. And so we were talking about what he does, and then we were just having a meet and greet kind of thing. And then he said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, let me ask you a question first. And I said, who are you within what you've just told me that you do? Jason, he was blank.
Yeah. Yep.
30.
Yeah.
So now he was at 30, and then he said, what? And I said, well, who are you within what you've told me now you do, that you're passionate about? He said, that's a really good question. And it transformed the trajectory of the conversation.
Yeah.
By the end of the conversation, he was like, this is something to think about. Exactly. Because I said to him, I said, you are in your 30s, but what happens when you're feeling this way right at this moment, this glimmer of awareness? You're now 59 years old. You're a corporate executive. You're feeling like a fraud.
Yeah.
Because you hate what you're doing.
Yep.
And you're going through the motions. And now you're facing retirement. And you still don't know who you are or what you want to do.
I have a friend, and you had met him through Jackson's football. As a dad of a boy that played on Jackson's football team, and he to me, pulling up and seeing his house and his vehicles and all the things that he had, I thought he was living the dream, right? And this is something where you see the possessions and the things that people have. And as I got to know him, I realized very quickly he absolutely hates what he does. And there was at one point we were on the sideline talking during a practice, and somebody said something about being in nursing or being in medical care. And he was like, oh my God, I wish. He was like, I would love to just be able to take care of people. I would love to be a nurse. And he was like, I got this job, and I make this amount of money, and I've got these things. And he's like, I'm in this trap, right? I can't quit.
Exactly.
Like, I can't stop doing it. And I tell that story because it's so cool now. He actually, I don't know the whole journey and how this happened, but now I see him. He has his own co-op farm. And so it looks like he was able to find a way out and able to transition and do something that he loves and enjoys, which is super cool. And I'm so happy for him. But again, man, it took probably realizing that he's not happy and then figuring out, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it?
It starts with that awareness. And that's why part of what I do too is I can show people if that is something that they want, if they want out of what they're doing, but don't have the financial wherewithal. Well, let's teach you how to build an online business that's a laptop lifestyle.
Yeah.
I can do business anywhere that there's Wi-Fi.
Yes. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Anywhere that has Wi-Fi. So it doesn't matter. If that's something that you want, great. Go find the one that suit, like you just talked about. He wanted to do into something that was helping people. Well, there are so many wellness companies out there. That's where I'm at. That's my niche. I love health and wellness because of the results that I had for myself. And so now I am passionate about helping other people to get well. Great. If that's your jam, go find. There are so many companies out there that will pay you to get yourself well and then teach other people how to do it.
Yeah.
So many out there. Say you're a lawyer. You love being a lawyer, but you don't want to do law. And I knew a friend of mine like that. He said, I finished try a lawyer. And he got one day, he woke up, they had just done the verdict in his favor. And he went, I'm the only one in this courtroom that's not happy. Because he had spent 2 weeks living on his couch in his office.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen his wife in a week. And that was the moment that he said, I am going to build an online business, because he knew a friend of his had done it.
Yeah. Yeah. Made it possible, right?
Made it possible. Let your friend teach you. If I'm your friend, if I'm that friend, great. If not, that's okay too. Find somebody who is,
Yeah.
but build a residual income. So huge, because that's what happens. Then we get to the age where we're so trapped. And but I look back on my life, and that's where I was after David died. If David had not died, would I have thought I was happy? Yes. We had a happy
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
Thought I was
Yep.
happy. I realize now that I was going through the motions of life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going through the motions. It had nothing to do with David and I being happy.
I was just gonna say that it has nothing to do with David.
Nothing to do with David.
Yeah.
I was going through the motions that I was the happy wife, the happy grandmother, doing my own thing. We were traveling, we were doing stuff, but was I being true to me? No.
Well, and it comes down to, that's why we're constantly looking for a savior, right? We're looking for that love. We're looking for that job. We're looking for that possession. We're looking for that drug. We're looking for whatever it is to fill that hole, because we don't know ourselves. We don't know what fills our bucket, and we're not doing the right things, right? And so we're constantly filling it with other things. We're looking for that hero, for that mentor, for somebody else that's going to help us. The only people that can truly help us is ourselves.
Right.
In the sense that if we don't know what we want or what we need, if I don't know that I need a drink of water in order to survive, I don't know to ask you when you say, hey, what do you need? I'll give you anything. I'm sitting here and I'm dehydrating and I'm going to die any minute, but I don't know that I get to ask for water.
Right.
You could give it to me, but I don't know to ask.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's just opening up that awareness. And sometimes that spark, and that awareness can be the glimmer, just the bare mustard seed that you know that there's something wrong. And it's not that it's wrong, but it's just, it needs to be different. There needs to be a change.
Yeah.
And like, I call it a mind shift. Like, because most people have their mindset that this is what they're doing. This is how they earn their income. This is all of that stuff. This is how they pay their bills. But then one thing will happen, that little shift. Ooh, well, if, and all of the craziness that has happened in the last couple of years, of course, was a big one. So many people, it was forced on them. However, but once that little shift, and that shift can be something, just that little awareness that for your friend, he wasn't happy. All right. So now, are you going to take that shift and turn it into a flow state where you are going to get happy? Where you're in and it's not going to happen overnight. Don't expect it to. But if that one little speck can turn into a bigger speck, and then a bigger speck. Well, I don't know if any of you have seen a mustard tree. Mustard trees are huge, but they're the smallest seed ever. And yet they grow into these huge trees that will give shade and sustenance and a livelihood to anyone sitting under it. But it just starts with
a little tiny seed.
That one little seed.
Yeah.
Just find somebody who will give you a one-on-one. There's so many people out there that do free consultations. Jason and I know we both do free consultations. Mm-hmm. Let's chat. Mm-hmm. If I can help you, great. If I can't, okay, maybe I can put you in line to somebody who can. Because there's 7 billion people there's 7 billion people on this planet. Jason and I cannot service all of them.
Absolutely not. No. But and I am always open to communication, because they're open to calls with people, because there have been plenty of times where it's just been being able to get a moment of clarity, being able to talk it out with somebody that's been through that journey before or has that experience. And I'm more than happy to help. Because a lot of times it's like, this is a principle that you have to remember in life. It's impossible to do good things for people and not get your own reward. And I'm not saying like, oh, hey, Barb, remember that time I sat and listened to you and gave you advice and I gave you all that time, now you owe me. But you just go out and you do good things for people, and you're genuine in your heart-centeredness and in wanting to help people, and you'll get that will come back to you. And so I
Yes.
never sit and think about, oh my God, I'm spending all this time with people and they're not ever going to give me money, because I know that it comes back.
Yep.
And it does over and over and over again.
Right. Not necessarily in money. It's
No,
in other
yeah,
thing,
but
in other,
oftentimes, yeah,
but
yeah.
oftentimes it is.
Oftentimes it ends up that way because it
It-
ends up to a client or an
yeah,
opportunity or something. Yeah.
yeah. Or like in our case, ended up in a podcast,
Yeah,
and we've been
absolutely.
on a year and a half.
Yeah.
And because you just never know where that collaboration is going to come from. And somebody might be listening to this today. They might be listening to this in a week from now. They might be listening to it 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And they'll get one, and because they're in that spot, then they might not be in the spot now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
5 years from now, they might be.
It's so funny.
They're like,
It makes me like, this is like a really simple analogy and they're completely different kind of topics than what we're talking about. But it makes me think of like when I was a little kid, my grandma and my mom used to watch the TV show The Golden Girls, right?
oh, yes.
And I thought it was a good show when I was a kid. I didn't think it was that funny or anything. And then as an
Mhm.
adult, I watched the show and I'm like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Like,
This is
I didn't get the
hilarious.
joke. I didn't get the jokes then, right? I didn't get the jokes and I didn't
Right.
understand what they were talking about. Years
Yes.
later, my mind is developed. I understand what they're talking about. I get the joke now. It's a different show.
It's a
The same
different
thing with
show.
books. It's the same thing with movies.
Yes.
It's the same thing with concepts. Like, you're not ready to hear something right now, and then something happens, or you get an experience, or you learn something. You have a brain shift, a perspective shift, and
Right.
all of a sudden now you see it. Like, oh my God, how did I not see that before? Like,
Right.
I did the whole exercise with you with the gorilla, right? Walking
Oh,
through
with that gorilla. That was hysterical.
But once you see the gorilla, you can never not see the gorilla.
See it.
Often
Yeah.
though, people don't see the gorilla. I didn't see it the first time I did it.
Right. Exactly. And that's, that's like one of my things is that, like, and when we talk about, like doing commercials and stuff like that, and we will, you know what, let's talk about that for a second,
Yeah.
because it's not really a commercial. It's just an acknowledgement of what I do.
Yeah.
Because so many people don't realize that there is a way to age gracefully. It's not about trying to, all the things that we've just been talking about. It's not about trying to be this, whatever, this grandiose person that you think you have to be.
Yes.
It's about being the best version of you
Yeah.
that you want to be, and
Yeah.
have that mental and the physical and the financial resources to enjoy the rest of your life. You're coming up to 10, add part of the ad here, that 10,000 baby boomers are retiring almost every day. What are they doing? Are they sitting at home watching TV waiting to die? Or are they looking for something? A lot of them now are looking for something. Something to give their life purpose, something to give their life meaning, something to renew their passion, which is exactly what we've been talking about. That's why I do what I do. I'm a transformational life trainer.
Yeah.
I have one-on-one coaching. I have, positive intelligence, how to get in touch with those voices in your head. If you have a health need, hey, let's get you started. But the thing is to get started.
Yeah.
Once you get started on your journey, just because you've been on a journey for 30 years doesn't mean it has to be the journey that you're going to be on forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you don't like
what is your experience?
direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So important. I mean, what if you don't like the direction you're going? Oops.
It's really cool. The conversation I had yesterday on my podcast was along the same lines, and like the concept of like, you don't have to be one thing. You may have been a factory worker all these years, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't, like, you can be other things. And so the person I was speaking to has been a therapist, like a mental health, a mental behavioral health, behavioral health, right? So in that therapy world, it's a construct. She had to go to school for so long. She had to,
Yeah.
you have to like document everything. There's so much structure in that process, right? But then she also is a speaker, and then she just recently, in the last year or so, opened up a coaching business, and she does more
Right.
coaching now than therapy. And she
Right.
talked about there's outside of the box, there's more than just being one thing. And so you can transition your life's experiences and your
Right.
knowledge, and to your point, your pain and your struggles and your challenges, and take that out and bring it out and help people. And you don't have to be a factory worker or a therapist, or you can
Right.
be whatever it is. You can be an empowerer, like I talked about at the very beginning and introducing myself. Like, what is it, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. What is that for you? And I think that one of the biggest things, and I've had people that say this to me, well, Barb, I've been in therapy. Great. If you have had and so their question was, well, what's the difference between therapy and what you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you know what? When you go to your therapy sessions, what do you talk about? Well, all the things that have happened to me that have brought me to this point. I said, exactly. So
When
you are
you say it like that.
you're rehashing everything that you have been going through. Okay, so now so tell me what you've been going through. And they told me, and she told me, and I went, okay, so now you're done. Now, where do you want to be a month from now? And where do you want to be a year from now? And where do you want to be 5 years from now? And she was like, oh, and she got it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yes, people have gone through horrendous things.
Yeah. What did you learn from it?
Absolutely horrendous things.
What did you learn from it? What did you get out of that?
What
How are you taking it to your next journey?
How are you going to move forward from it?
Yes.
And that's when she noticed it. She went, oh, right.
Yeah.
And so it was like, gee, Barb, wow, this has been great. And I said, you know what? Yeah. So look at what we did in this short time. Just think of when you do it over 6 months or a year from now, your life is going to be totally changed, because you can have a shift in 15 minutes. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have a shift in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Then working out the shift is the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the work comes in. And we can't always do it on our own. When I think of all the coaches that I've had and the coaching programs that I have been through, and just all of those things, and the certifications that I've worked towards, and